Welcome to Dungeoneering Done Dirt Cheap. I am Everweird, and this is my solo playthrough of the Gunderholfen Mega Dungeon using the BECMI D&D rules from the 1980s and 90s. In the last session, my party had re-entered the dungeon, now reunited with their comrade Virago. They had overpowered, sort of, although Virago took some bad hits, overpowered the hobgoblins and made their way to this level where they can take the stairs down to level 2, and they decided to rest and recoup a little bit to prepare for that next stage of their journey. Because I recorded that entire session in one go, there was no recap, and we are picking up right in the middle of things. The party is waking up here and preparing to descend those stairs to level 2 of Gunderholfen. Having gotten as much sleep as we possibly can, and hearing some, like sort of the flappings of bats, it sounded like during the night, but not being disturbed by anything. The next morning we wake up, we have our rations, we regroup. Talira checks in with Virago, making sure they're all right. Talira's still feeling that uneasiness of like, I wanted my companion to come back and protect me, but now I'm the one having to look out for them. And they head down this staircase. Level 2 consists of natural limestone caverns. There are human-made sections constructed of roughly hewn stone, usually black or gray in color. The floors are stone covered by a light layer of dirt and small rocks. Ceilings are 8 feet tall in the tunnels, 12 feet in the rooms unless otherwise indicated. The natural cave tunnels vary in width from 5 to 12 feet and generally have ceilings of 6 to 15 feet in height. The caverns are generally 15 feet plus in height. The caves are extremely moist and damp with stalagmites and stalactites growing in profusion. So it is the next day. It is the 3rd of the month of cold. It is early in the morning. I say it's 6 a.m. when we head out, and we definitely strike up a torch, perhaps even 2 as we walk down here. We enter a grand columned room that has a 50-foot high arched ceiling. There are hundreds of bones scattered around the floor. There are these giant columns all the way down the room. It is too long of a room for our torchlight to reach the end. However, there will be a double door there. We are going to begin searching through this room. So will we begin searching to the north, 1 through 3, or to the south, 4 through 6? To the north. That's pretty good, knowing what I know about this. We now have 4 full-time party members, so they all search, which will be searching for secret doors and stuff. Oh, wow. We find a secret door right here, and it only takes 1 turn. Because we started there, we found it on our first turn. If I had rolled south, something else bad would have probably happened. So we find this secret room, call the party over, take up our positions, and trigger that room. Having learned our lesson way back when Dobahai was in the party, Virago now taps the floor in front of us before we enter that room, and sure enough, the floor collapses. There's just a simple pit trap there beyond the door, and it collapses so we're able to get in. The walls in here are covered in bas-reliefs featuring dwarves making weapons and constructing great underground halls. It's basically a tribute to Gunderholfen. In the northeast corner is a metal trap door with a pull handle. Interesting. We tie a rope around this pull handle and we step back. It looks like the rest of the room is empty as far as like treasure or secrets go. So we tie a rope around this pull handle and pull it, and that trap door opens up in the floor, revealing an iron ladder that descends. It looks like this ladder, I know this from reading in the book, but it's going to descend down to level 3. So we basically found a shortcut down to level 3, but I don't think we want to take it right now. We just know where this is and where the secret door is. So we regroup. We reset that trap door so that it's back up, and we're going to walk back out that door and reset the secret door so there's no indication that we have been through here. And when we do, 3 of these giant bat-like creatures with these long snouts come flying in at us. I'm going to roll for initiative. 6. We hear this flapping above us coming from the northeast corner of this room. And we're going to run for those doors at the end. It's pretty much run up the stairs or run for the doors. So we run for those doors. I don't believe they are locked. It doesn't look like they're in. There is something really weird and tricksy through these doors. We run through those doors in haste, like we are rushing. There's basically 10 feet before we set off a trap that I don't think there's any way to figure out. So our marching order here, sorry to say, it's going to be the Dungeoneering Company. So we have, let me mark some time. We spent 10 minutes looking for that first secret door, and then probably 10 minutes as we found the second trap room. That's when these creatures appeared and attacked us, and we ran through the double doors at the end. We slammed those doors behind us because we want to trap those bat things in here. Once we take 10 feet into here, we're going to set off a trap. It's going to be the Dobahai division that does that. They've got their torches, and Grebe and Balad are going to take the lead because they've got the lowest AC and they don't fight with ranged weapons. So once they step 10 feet into this hallway, a whirlwind appears and flings the character back towards the double doors. I'll say that's Grebe. So Grebe is going to take D3 damage, 2 damage, and is flung back towards the double doors. Oh, they can save versus breath for no damage. So 17, unlikely, didn't get it. Right after it hits Grebe and she is thrown back to the double doors, the whirlwind dissipates, but only for 1 round. While it is present, it is impossible to pass the area, but immediately after the whirlwind has subsided, there's a 10-second interval. So it's basically a round where it's not there. What it appears to us, as far as we're concerned, this whirlwind has disappeared. Grebe has been thrown back to these doors, taken 2 points of damage, and that's when Balad will step up. So the whirlwind reappears that next round. Balad does not make his save versus breath, so he takes 3 points of damage. That's really significant for Balad, who only has 7 HP right now. But I think by the time it has hit the second person, we realize there is an interval through which we can run past this whirlwind. We also notice that there's a sack lying on the floor next to those double doors. Inside the sack is just cloth. So Talira picks up that sack, throws it through this area, the whirlwind starts up, and then it dies off, and we all run through. So this sack is actually lying here for the local inhabitants to use to bypass that trap. This hallway continues about 80 feet long, and it ends in another double door. We are going to listen at the door. So if there's anything there, a couple of us hear it. We don't hear anything. And we open up these doors, and there's a room that is about 20 feet by 30 feet. 20 feet east to west, 30 feet north to south. And there are bones all over the floor. They're very small. They look like rodent bones. Mixed in among the bones are a dozen orange glass marbles. So Talira's going to pick up those marbles. Why not? Takes us another turn in that room as we search around. And I will roll for... No, I'm not going to roll for wandering monsters just yet. I believe it's once every hour. So there's a door angled off to the southwest. We will all listen at it. And if there's anything there, we think we hear it. Now this is getting cool, and I don't know what I'm going to do. We have listened. We're sure we haven't heard anything. So we open this up, and we see that in this room, there's a stone mouth about 3 feet wide carved into the south wall, and its tongue is sticking out. This is a pretty cool, weird, old school kind of interactivity part to the dungeon, and I don't know how my characters would respond because they have not come across anything like this. It's basically a sort of treasure thing. If you put in a certain coin, a different coin will come out, but if you put in a different kind of coin, nothing happens. It takes the coin from you, and it radiates magic, but Faqual has prepared sleep today, so it doesn't have detect magic. Not wanting to waste one of those marbles, Talira takes like just a sling bullet and throws it at this mouth. In the center of the tongue is a circular depression about the size of a coin. Oh, I see. It gives me that hint that it's about the size of a coin. A circular depression. Okay. Nothing happens when she puts the stone in there, so Blaine says, let me try something. And Blaine's kind of a big timer. He takes out a gold piece and puts a gold piece there. The tongue retracts, and when it returns, the gold piece is gone. So we've lost a gold piece to this thing. Will anyone try another coin? No. we're pretty convinced it's just a thing that eats money, so we're going to move on. So we're going to listen at that next door. And nobody hears anything, if there is anything to be heard. So nobody hears anything, we open that door. There's a real narrow passageway that opens into a bigger room that's about 40 feet east to west right there, 30 feet down here. In the middle of this floor is a trench, 4 feet long by 3 feet deep by 2 feet wide. Inside the trench is covered in moss, and we hear the sound of dripping water in this passageway to the east. When we look, there is a stairway that descends down about 10 feet. We might think there's sort of a natural cave or something beyond there. Okay, we're gonna take a turn and inspect this whole room for secret doors and such. We don't find anything, that's great, there's nothing there, but they're not really sure if there is or not. Okay, we climb down those stairs, fighting company going first, and our torches only extend out about, 30 feet, so like maybe here-ish. All we see is a pool. Water drips down from the ceiling to a murky, water-covered floor. Virago sticks their staff in again and realizes that it seems to be about 1.5 feet deep, but it's going to be a little bit treacherous to walk in here. So we're going to take a single file line, put Balad in the back, Grebe in the front, Blaine second, and then Virago, Faqual, Talira maybe. And then Zenith. So that works out. Zenith puts her bow away and takes out her morning star. Seems a little bit easier to balance as they walk. And they walk into this pool. And the first thing they notice is that it slows them down quite a bit to walk in here. Okay, so we keep walking about where that torchlight originally faded out. Once we get to that point, we can see ahead that there is an entrance, a passageway that continues to the southeast there. But as we get to that point about 30 feet in, we see movement in the water. 4 giant cave toads are quickly going to reveal themselves and leap at us to attack. So I'm going to roll initiative. 4. We get to act as we see that movement. The toads are starting to move towards us like we've just barely noticed them, and Grebe shouts, "Cave toads, run for it!" and starts running to the southeast, thinking there's no way to get back up those stairs. We have the initiative. Although our movement is halved, because we're about halfway through, we should be able to get out of the water and up on this part of the cave here, like up onto the sort of finished stone. But the toads are going to pursue us. We all get out. Yeah, we can take all of our movement during the encounter round and get out, but these toads are nonetheless coming towards us. Ooh, wow, they have a 60-foot hop, so they really get to us. Doesn't specify how they attack, so it sounds pretty gross. I'm thinking it's going to be a real whip of a tongue that comes out of them. Balad and Zenith are in the back. They are going to get hit first. Damage is 2d4. All right, the first one misses Zenith. Second one misses Balad. Who's next in line? Virago. The next one comes after Virago. Ah, crap. Virago's low AC. This whip comes across and knocks down Virago again. Virago goes to 0. Blaine sees this happen, swears, and will take his turn trying to get Virago back up. So the fourth one is going to go after Talira. Yep, it's going to hit for 3 points. Doesn't drop Talira, but does some pretty nasty damage. So Talira gets knocked down to 3, and it is now our turn. Faqual is cursing, like, do I put them all to sleep again right now? Glances around, sees that one of his companions is out, and just does it. They have 2 HD of hit points, so yeah, Faqual doesn't have a great chance at knocking them all out. He starts casting sleep. Nope, he can't do it because he can't specify a 40 by 40 foot area. So he starts to cast and he realizes, like, I don't have the space. Everyone get behind me. But nonetheless, all the fighters will make an attack before that happens. So Balad goes after one of these toads, misses. Oh boy. Grebe goes after one of these toads, hits for 3 points of damage, and realizes that does not hurt the toad that much. Zenith swings her Morning Star at one of the toads. Yes, hits and does 6 points of damage. That's great. Lyra swings her scimitar. 16 minus 2 should hit. Yes, does hit. Does 2 points of damage. Fekwal, having realized he could not attack with the spell, and realizing that Blaine is occupied with Virago, is going to slash with his dagger at one of them. Natural 20. Wow. Does 1 point of damage. Well done, Fekwal. Blaine takes out a health potion and administers it to Virago. Virago will regain 4 hit points, their max, but will be out for a turn, according to my rules of realistic healing. We then get to roll initiative. So if we get initiative on this, I think we're going to run. We do get initiative. We run, and what we're going to find ahead that I will map in a second is that tunnels branch off to the to the west and the south, as well as like a room where we could stay. Do we stay or do we run? I don't think we want to stay in this room, but we don't know that these toads will chase us. We're getting pretty far away from the water. I think what I'm going to do to make the decision is roll a 1, 2, 3. 1, we stay. 2, we go south. 3, we go west. 3, we go west. So we run into this next room, and we see this room and fear that the toads will come after us here, so we continue off to the west where we see this other opening. The toads leap into this room after us, and then I think I'm just going to play it like the toads use a leap, and so they see where we go, but they can't follow us west because they leapt in a single direction. They can't sort of change mid-leap to decide to come after us. We see that this area ahead of us branches again. There's a sort of narrow passage to the north and a larger one to the south. 1 through 3, we go north. We head north. So we run to this passage and we see that there's sort of natural stair steps in it leading to some kind of cavern down below. Although I think our torchlight can get down there. Great. We run down there, and this is not cool. There's a coffin. We see this coffin in the middle of the room, and it stops us dead in our tracks. But we grab those ranged weapons, those who are ranged fighters, withdraw their ranged weapons, just ready for the toads to appear. I'm going to roll a reaction to see if the toads are still pursuing us. 8. The monster is cautious. So I think once the monsters left this room and started sniffing around, they were unable to see that we had turned off there. So we're confronted with this coffer, a stone coffin. On one hand, coffins have treasure. On the other hand, they have dead things in them. We don't know that. We've only once run into the undead. The undead that we ran into had been reanimated by a necromancer in front of us. We met the necromancer. So I don't think anyone here is thinking the dead rise on their own. So we try an open doors check, a force doors, to open up this coffer. So that's going to be Blaine and the fighters who do this. And sure enough, we force it open and a coffer corpse rises to attack us. Ooh, let's see. Are we surprised? We're yellow. We are not surprised, but the coffer corpse itself is shocked that someone opened this up. Just a real rude awakening. But I'm still going to roll initiative, and it does get to act first. It has some cool abilities that I've not played with in a monster before. So it gets to move first, and it just reaches up. Its hands just jut out and grab the neck of the first person in its sight, which is going to be Grebe. Just realizing I needed to mark a health potion out of my inventory. Health potions are going to become far more expensive to me. No more of this modern D&D pricing that I'm going to do. So basically what we're carrying is going to be the last of the cheap health potions. For some reason, Longfelt was overrun with the ingredients for these, and clerics had a lot of time on their hands to create them, but that's not going to be the case going forwards. So the coffer corpse tries to get to Grebe. Natural 20, it gets Grebe. So it tries to strangle Grebe and does 2 points of damage. Grebe choking on this, or being choked by this corpse that's in its own coffin. There's this terrified reaction from everybody, like, what is happening? But Blaine is thinking clearly and knows that he can turn the undead. I don't know. I go by the hit dice. That's what it is. Blaine is 2nd level. So a zombie has 2 hit dice. A ghoul has 2 hit dice and an asterisk. And my turning undead would be a 7 for a zombie and a 9 for a ghoul. So I think this means that this coffer corpse is more of a zombie than a ghoul, because it is just straight 2 HD. I roll 2d6 and hope to hit 7 or greater. Got it. So then the Dungeon Master rolls 2d6 to see how many HD flee. Of course, I would hit 2, so it's all of the HD of that coffer corpse. So this corpse is strangling Grebe, and Blaine shows his holy symbol and admonishes, in the strictest terms, this undead corpse, which is then terrified of this, scrambles out of its coffin and runs up those stairs where it is attacked by 4 giant toads. We take a moment to sort of compose ourselves. Virago, having been brought back from 0 HP a couple of times, is really, really worse for the wear, but we don't feel like this is a safe place to rest yet. We search the coffin and find 1,000 copper, 1,000 electrum, 3 obsidian stones, 1 garnet, and 2 sapphires. So we are stuffing that in a sack as hastily as we can, hearing these disgusting amphibian noises from above as the corpse and the toads are fighting it out in this room south of us, but up the stairs. We know that we can run up the stairs and run this way, which is east, and there's another big room to explore. Ballad suggests that. You know, in that room to the east, there was another passage to the south. I think if we run back in that direction, perhaps we have another chance to fool these toads who might not chase us in that direction again. So they make the decision, we're going to run up and we're going to run to the east. Now I'm trying to figure out what do I think is going to happen as they run into a room where a zombie and a bunch of giant toads are fighting. The coffer corpse does not actually take damage, but once it takes 6 HP, it falls to the ground and rises up around later, and then all of the toads around it would have to save versus fear, which, is that a thing in Osric AD&D? I'm going to look see if there's a giant toad in here just to see. Giant cave toad. Cave toad lives in rocky cold regions. Size of a large dog, weighs 150 pounds. Wow, this one in the rules cyclopedia, the cave toad has a paralyzation feature. So they save as a fighter of 3rd level. All right, so this is the toads trying to save. In the couple of rounds that we've spent down there, the coffer corpse has been knocked to the ground by the toads with 0 HP, but rises again. And so now the toads have to save versus fear. Wait, that's what I didn't figure out. They have to save versus fear, but what is fear going to be? Maybe a spell? I guess it's a spell, you know? So they save against fear, the spell. Yeah, okay. Which is a 16 for a fighter of 3rd level. 1 toad saves. 2 toads save. 2 toads save. 2 toads go hopping off into the night or into the morning. And 2 toads continue their fight with this corpse. So when we run up back into this room, there's a melee going on while these 2 toads whip this zombie, basically this coffer corpse, into submission again, where it is inevitably going to fall. But in that time, we're going to run east. Did the toads run east? No, the toads ran south. So the toads who failed against fear ran south. We ran east to this room. The roof here is domed and encrusted with many stalactites, while the floor is littered with boulders. There are traces of a campfire along the east wall. We also see that there's a passage to the south. I'm feeling like we don't have a real secure place to be, and this is terrifying me a little bit. We know that we could make it back to that room with the magic mouth in it and possibly spike those doors shut. It's early in the day. There's no reason for me to rest at this point. There's no mechanical reason. There's a logical story reason for me to do that. I'm going to roll for wandering monsters. That was a 3 both times. So there's no wandering monsters during this round or this turn. I'm just wondering, like, realistically, where do we go? We don't want to expose ourselves to those giant toads again. I think we're going to have to press on until we find some suitable place to rest for a moment. Only about 1 hour has passed in the dungeon as we have done all of this. It's not a sensible time to rest or anything, but I am going to call it as the end of the session. So I will just pick back up in the next session in this room. Giant toads somewhere. Coffin corpse resurrecting itself right there.